What is going on, guys? Stefan with you, S&E's Garage. In today's video, we're going to be working on our 2011 Coyote Mustang GT. So we are currently in the middle of chasing a cold fire misfire here on this GT Mustang. When you first start the car, it'll kind of stumble a little bit and then it'll smooth out. And then as it's warming up, you'll hear intermittent misfires from the exhaust. You can kind of hear the pop, like the little, lack of exhaust pulse coming out of the exhaust. So what we went ahead and did is we used our X-Tool IP616, that's our scan tool, and we went into power balance and we just kind of watched. And you can see individual cylinders every once in a while were dropping out. And we did just do spark plugs on this to try to correct that issue, and it did not help. So I went ahead and I pulled the new spark plugs that I put in. I pulled them back out, and I double checked my gap, and these are all gapped correctly. The spec is 0.049 to 0.053, so between 49 and 53 thousandths of an inch. I have them all gapped to the low end of the spec, which is 49, and that's going to allow them, as they wear, that gap is going to increase, but it is still going to be in spec, and that is why I went with the lower end of the spec. So what we're going to go ahead and do today is replace our ignition coils with these Ford Performance ignition coils. Now the part number here on these is M-12029-M50C. These will work for 2011 to 2016 Mustang GT or F150 5.0 engines. Now, if you have a 2016 and up, depending on where your build date is, there is a different part number. I believe it's M50E that you're going to need to purchase. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'll link both of these in the description below. I'll link the one that we are using for 11 to 16, and then the ones from 16 and on up. Now, the main difference between these and the newer ones is the style of connector that they use for the ignition coil. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to pull the spark plug covers. We're going to pull them up out of the way. We're going to remove our coils, and I'm going to put my new spark plugs back in. Now, I'm not going to show you that on video. This isn't a spark plug video. We're just going to show you how to replace these coils, so I'll do the rest off camera. But let me get you set up on the tripod, and we'll start wrenching. Okay, so we're going to start here on the driver's side, and the first thing you're going to want to do is remove this PCV breather hose, and that is very simple. There is a little tab right down here that we are going to go ahead and use a little pocket screwdriver here, like so, to go ahead and slide the release over, and then you're just going to lift it up like that, and then I like to try to rotate it out of my way, like so. Now we can go ahead and lift our coil cover up and out of the way, like so. And that is going to reveal to us 4 ignition coils on the driver's side of the engine. Now these are going to be held in with a series of 8mm bolts. Your new kit is going to come with new bolts, so you can discard the old ones, which is great. Let me open this up. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about really quick. So these are going to be your nice new bolts. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead. We're going to start removing these. So now what you're going to have to do, if you have this strut tower brace, you're not going to be able to remove this engine cover, but you do need to get it out of the way to have enough room to unplug your ignition coils. So what I like to do is I'll just pop it up off of its little clips, and then I'll slide it as far over to the other side as I can, and that should give us enough room to get in here and do what we have to do. Now, to release these red locks here on the ignition coil, it's actually really easy. You're just going to take, again, a pocket screwdriver and push them up. And you'll hear them click, like so. And once they click, you can go ahead and unplug your coil, like so. There's one. There's two. Now on these two, the red clips are broken or missing from the previous owner. But they are not important. They're honestly, it's a redundancy. You don't need them. So if yours are missing or broken, don't go crazy trying to replace them because they really are not that important. And your ignition coils are just going to lift up and out like so. Okay, now like I said, off camera, we are very quickly just going to go ahead and pull our spark plugs and put the other ones back in now that they're gapped correctly, and we'll resume when we put the coils back in. So very quickly, while we're this far in, I'm gonna check compression really quick. So I got this whole side out, I got all the spark plugs out on this side. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put our foot to the floor, and we're going to crank it, and we're going to see what kind of compression numbers we get on these 4 cylinders. I don't know what the spec is off the top of my head. I'm more curious to see if they all match each other. That's kind of what we're looking for here. Alright guys, so when you do a compression test on one of these engines, you're going to want to pull this 20 amp fuse here. This is for the fuel pump. This is going to prevent your fuel injectors from firing and spraying raw fuel into the engine while you're trying to do your test. That could be dangerous, number one, and number two, if you're doing it like we are, one bank at a time, the engine will run off one bank and the engine will start up with your compression tester in there, and that's not good either. All right, we got just about 175 on this one. Let's go ahead and check this guy here. Now, I am technically not performing this compression test correctly. We should really have the spark plugs out on the passenger side too, but I'm not doing that. I'm more just checking to see that, like I said, they all are similar. So that number would likely be higher if I had the engine cranking faster with those other spark plugs removed. Alright, we're just about 175 on this one, so that is a good sign. These 2 cylinders are putting out the same amount of compression. Let's check the 3rd one from the front. We're about 160 on this one. It's a little low, but it's not anything really to worry about. And let's check the back one. right, we're about 175 here. So these, at least this driver's side bank, seems to be pretty healthy. So now let's go ahead, install those spark plugs, and we're going to go ahead and torque them to 12 foot-pounds. All right, guys, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our new coils here out of the bag, and I know these are Ford parts, but I always like to compare them to the old ones, and they are identical. So we're gonna go ahead, slide our 4 new coils into place, like so. We are accompanied in the garage today with our whole family. We have Emily here. Emily, say hi. Hello. We have Maverick. Say hi, Maverick. Say, you guys say it. They can't see you. Say hi. And we have our youngest son, Brantley. They are watching Daddy work. Say hello.
Hello.
So once we got our last coil in, we're gonna go ahead, snug down those new 8mm bolts that they give us. We're not gonna reuse the old ones. We're gonna use our new ones. Make sure you can still see what we're doing here. Okay. Take our nice shiny new bolts. Go ahead and start your new bolts by hand. You don't ever want to run these in with a gun until you start them. Always start them first. Okay, now we're just going to take our electric impact or our electric ratchet and snug them down. Okay, now we can go ahead and plug them back in. And if you have the red locking tabs, just push them back down. If yours are broken like 2 of ours are, you don't have to worry about it. Again, they're not necessary. It's just a redundancy that Ford decided to put on the connector. All right, guys. We're done on the driver's side here. Let's go ahead and put our coil cover back on. Switch gears over to the passenger side. All right, so similar to what we did on the driver's side, we're going to now shift this cover as far over that way as we can. And we are going to go ahead and remove this breather hose. Like so, and then rotate it up and out of our way, so that we can go ahead and remove this ignition coil cover. Now you are going to have to remove your oil cap to get this out, and again, it will just lift, move out of the way. Now, if you have your red connector tang locks, now is your chance to go ahead and unlock them. This side only has one, so now we're just going to go ahead and disconnect our connectors. One. There's 2. There's 3. Okay, and there is number 4. Let's go get our electric ratchet, take those coils out. Okay, let's go ahead and remove our coils, same way, pull them straight up. connector was in my way. Okay. So now, again, I'm just going to go ahead and pull these spark plugs off camera. And we're going to check compression on this side and then slap everything back together. Now, I will leave a link in the video description below to a decent compression tester. This is a Matco unit. You don't need a really expensive one. You just need one that's going to get the job done. So, again, we're just going to start here, work our way from front to back, and check the compression of these four. I'm assuming they're all going to be between 160 and 170 like the other side was. That's what we're hoping for, but let's check it out. $150 on this one, that's a little low. Womp. Let's go ahead and check this one. About 160. This doesn't even seem like it's seating all the way. I'm just gonna spray a little bit of white lube here on the threads for this because it feels like the threads are getting a little gummed up from carbon or what have you. Yeah, that's spinning in a lot better now. I might retest that first one. But again, let's check number 3 now. About 160. All right, last one. And then, like I said, I am just for my own sake gonna retest that first one with a little bit of lubricant on those threads. That's probably about 160 as well. So the only one that was really low was the front one. And again, I don't think I had this tool seated all the way. So really quickly, let's just double check our measurement here. Yeah, that's better. Yep, okay. So, no, we're good on this side too. We're at about 160, 165 across the board here on the passenger side. So we can rule out any mechanical issues with the engine now, and it's got to be either fuel or spark. So I'm hoping these coils are going to solve our problem. So let's go ahead. I'm, again, off camera, going to install the spark plugs that I re-gapped back in, and then we're going to reinstall our new coils. All right, we got all of our spark plugs torqued down to 12 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and slide our nice, shiny new ignition coils down into their new homes. Like so. And then we're going to use our shiny new ignition coil bolts to bolt them back in. I'll pick all that up later. All right. Right, we're all, again, started by hand. Go ahead and snug them down. All right, plug them in. Clip the red tabs if you got them. If you don't, forget them. Okay, we're going to take our coil cover. Pull our oil cap back off. I always put the oil cap back on when I'm doing, work under here because I don't want anything falling in there. So we'll go ahead, put this back on. We can clip this back in. Okay. Now let's just clean up over here and then we'll fire the car up. All right. Let's open our door here. Fire her up. Sounds nice and healthy to me. So if this video helped you replace the ignition coils or perform a compression test on your 2011 and on up Ford Mustang GT with the 5-liter Coyote, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, I'll leave a link to some of the things we used in the video description below. I'll leave these ignition coils, I'll leave the ones for 2016 and on up, and I'll leave a compression tester down there. If you buy from those links, it does help the channel, and we do greatly appreciate it. I'm happy with the results here. Like, share, and subscribe.